At first, there was games with just joysticks, where you just played with one other person or yourself. In these modern times, you can play any types of virtual gaming. You can use any kind of controller, or not even a controller at times. You can play games anywhere in the world. There's all sorts of gaming platforms that you can use. And you can play them at your own home or anywhere else.
There are many different types of games. Games like Call of Duty Black Ops, which is action adventure. And then Tekken, which is fighting. FIFA 11, which is sport. Sudoku, which could be a puzzle game. World of Warcraft, that tends to be an RPG, which is a role-playing game. Command and Conquer, which is a strategy game. And there are many other different types of games that come under these categories. Obviously, to play these kind of games, you need platforms for them to go on. We've got here the PlayStation 3, which costs around £250, maybe a bit more or a bit less, depending on where you want to shop. And this is the PlayStation Move, which comes as an attachment. And it's used for when you're playing the PlayStation using wireless technology, which can be used to move around. And then there's the Xbox 360, which is the cheaper version made by Microsoft with their own dedicated servers, which some people argue that it's better, but that's just me. And then we've got the Kinect, which has just recently came out. And then the Nintendo Wii, which is made by, obviously, Nintendo. And the DSi XL, which is also another recent feature.
Artificial intelligence. A good description of artificial intelligence is a bodysuit to what people wear for making a game. These are black lacquer suits that have ping pong balls on it. And the computer sensors pick up the ping pong balls that are on them and see where you are moving your body parts. This is the kind of modern day technology that are used in games all the time. And also, people will always use it in films. Also in gaming, they use green screen, and people will do whatever they want, and they can have any sort of background behind them. In making a game, you need very good hardware. You need things like cameras, computers, and good monitors, and all the other usual essentials. All these will be a great advantage to making a good game. This is a 3D camera, but also with HD. And these days we have HD and 3D tellies, so then you can play games and watch videos on either of them. The software you'll need is rendering, which is used for 2D and 3D graphics, collision detection, collision response, sounds, scripting, animation, networking, and streaming. It is also very common for different companies to have the same engine to create many different games. The main programming language what we'll use to make games is C and C++. And these can be very difficult to use unless you know what you're doing. But once you know how to do it, it can be very good.
As we all know, there are very many different constraints and enhancements to video games and the quality. HD, for example. HD gives a sharper, clearer image and allows users to view the game in a completely different way. Whereas 3D, a new technology, allows users to actually feel like they're in the game. With 3D glasses and 3D ready games, it's exactly what they want. Constraints, however, the Nintendo Wii. The Nintendo Wii doesn't come as HD ready, so if you've got an HD ready TV, it could be a little bit iffy. You know, human addiction isn't really that bad. Of course, the cases of it can be, but think of it this way. You've got people like Adam, who could sit in and play on the game all day and not bother about being on the streets. If he went on the streets, he might cause trouble, or he might get into trouble, for example, violence. But, on the other hand, people can waste stupid amounts of money buying games, such as Call of Duty, for example, and all the expansion packs that you need. Tell you, People like Adam waste of time, wasting their lives. Come on, Adam.
It's good though, I want to play it.
Well, you're not even playing it.
Yeah, but I want to.
So, you got to go out.
I don't want to go. Social isolation is when people don't go out whilst playing games. People can spend hours playing games, but they never go out or speak to their friends. This can get them away from the real life, and then you think, whenever you do come into contact with real people, that is real. That isn't real life. Give me money. Thank you. Super.
On a more serious note, many people get confused between games and real life. A big case of this was the Manhunt problem. The parents of Stephanie Pakira, 14, said the son had murdered a 17-year-old player and they beat him to death and killed him with a knife and a claw hammer. There was also an uproar on Grand Theft Auto Vice City about killer relations, which made a big uproar between different racial groups.
Games can be used in education all the time. BBC Vitalize has many different games what you can use. It has for many different subjects. There's also My Maths, which is for, obviously, maths. And you can use it to help you with your math skills, either GCSE level or below.
On Bite-Size, there's games like this that ask you very many different questions depending on how many points you get on the mini-game. Such as a memo. How would you answer? Unfortunately, you got incorrect once more. And these are just examples of all the different games on Bite-Size and game size just as My Maths.
Some games have to be compatible with a certain operating system. Some games are only made for Windows, and some games are only made for Apple. So they can only be played on those kind of products. Apple doesn't have that many games or just for itself, but Windows does. Windows has many games where on the box it says compatible with Windows 7. Apple has its own apps which are on the App Store, and they can only be used on Apple computers or on Apple products such as the iPod, iPhone, or any other kind of products that they bring out. These kind of apps cannot be used on Windows phones or any other type of Windows operating system or any operating system.
There are many psychological factors due to gaming, such as these. The headsets, the Triton and the Astro, they both contain Dolby Logical surround sound, which then means that the gamers can actually feel like they're there and hear everything a lot better. And then we've got 3D technology, retro and new, mostly new now, dodgy picture. And 3D technology just emphasises even more how much the gamer would feel in the game.
I think gaming is good because it can give good education to some children.
However, on the other hand, it can lead to very severe cases of game addiction.
Yeah, but that's only with the small minority of kids.
Have you got the facts to prove it? And besides, we all know that it can lead to social isolation as well.
Yes, but it can also give a good social life to some children.
But what about the people who have been put up like the Manhunt case, who have had to be investigated because they can't control the difference between reality and the game?
That is just for a small minority, and I think the parents should see into that and see if their children are actually addicted to their games.
Of course, that would depend on if the children spoke to their parents in the first place or had any form of social life.
But if they're on the games, they'll be on with their friends, and that means they will have some sort of social life. I still think it's down to the parents to actually talk to their children and to get them off the games.
But as you both know, it takes two to tango, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And also, what happens when the health goes down because they can't even see the light of day?
Well, that shows that they've obviously got a problem, and that means the parents should get involved and stop them from playing it.
But if they don't see the parents or speak to them, then what the hell are they supposed to do?
Like I said before, it's the parents' job to actually go up and see them wherever they are, and to see if they're alright. Yes, it is down to the children as well, but also it's down to the parents.
Fair enough. So, in conclusion to this, we've come to an agreement. And that means that, yeah, gaming may be bad for your health.
But it's also down to the parents to make sure that the children are alright.
And it also may make them have a lack of social life. Or again,
it's also good for them to have a social life with the people who they're playing with.
So, we've come to a joint decision that there's no harm done in this matter.